Just look at that in the sun. Just, yeah. And the sun's gonna come out in the sleet. Good morning, welcome to Cooley Outdoors. I'm your host, Brandon Scott. With me today is gonna be Nash, my father, Craig and Elena. We are parked at the Hummocks trailhead in Mount Saint Helens National Volcanic Monument. We are going to be doing the Johnston Ridge Trail from the Hummocks trailhead up to the Johnston Ridge Observatory. It's about 10 miles round trip, gaining a little over 1,500 feet in elevation. We are up here because the 45th anniversary of the eruption was a couple weeks ago, and this was as soon as I could make it up here, so yeah. It's not very high on our hiking list because normally you can just drive up to the Johnston Ridge Observatory, but a mudslide along the road between here and the observatory, between this trailhead and the observatory in the, I want to say it was fall of 2023, took out the road, and they're still working on putting in a new bridge and such, so you can't drive the last 8 miles of road from here to the observatory. So instead, if you want to go see it, you got to go hike it like we are, which is fine. It's going to be a mostly open trail because, you know, we are in the dead center of the blast zone. Took the shotgun shot from St. Helens 45 years ago, so nature is slowly but surely reclaiming it. So we're gonna have amazing views of St. Helens. I'll take a video from the observatory starting my March of Time series, hopefully, and looking for some wildflowers. There should be good elk and mountain goats sightings, hopefully, possibly. For books, you got the Day Hiking at Mount Saint Helens, and I was a goober, I had it on it. I also didn't bring my map, so I can't show you exactly where it is, but, you know, if you just follow the Spirit Lake Highway, eventually you will get to the trailhead. So here we go, Johnston Ridge, 9 miles, 1,700 feet, June to mid-November. I can show you here, so you can see Coldwater Lake. We're starting at the number 24 and going to the number 26. And then this book's gonna say the same thing, although I think this one just talks about the Hummocks Trail. I don't think it talks about, oh, no, it might actually. Lakes Trail 211, I don't remember. I think I grabbed this one because it does. Yeah, Boundary Trail 1 to Johnston Ridge, 4.8, Blewett Viewpoint 4 miles, Ridge Observatory 4.8 miles, 2,500 feet you start, JRO is at 4,200 feet. Good stuff. Open views of everything as it closes up with Mother Nature. And then wildflower hikes, I think I grabbed it. Norway Pass, yeah, Johnston Ridge. This is the next part of the ridge when you leave the observatory, heading over towards Spirit Lake and Devil's Elbow and Harry's Ridge and such, but still wildflower hikes, so you should be able to see plenty of wildflowers. The 2 times we've come up here in the summer-ish time to do things, when we did we went out to the Rock Arch a few years ago, which I will tag right there, and then when we did the Coldwater Lakes Trail with Nash and I, we did see a bunch of wildflowers. I'll tag that when we start hiking. That was a good one. That was a good one. We need to paddle that too. Yes, we did. I'll tag those later when I talk about them when we get on the trail. Otherwise, let's go hit the trail. Summit too. Huh? Tiger Summit too. When do we get to the destination and we're looking at it? First part of the trail is going to be through and along what's called the Hummocks, which is pretty much one big, great landslide deposit from when, you know, the whole north chunk of the mountain gave way, and it creates this hilly texture upon the landscape and creates a whole bunch of mini kettle ponds in between. If you want to do a shorter version of this hike, you could come also park here. This is called the Hummocks Trailhead, because you come do what's called the Hummocks Loop instead, and that's about 2.5 or 3 mile loop. We might, on our way back down, do the Hummocks Trail proper, which is off to our right some, but we're cruising. Beginning elevation is about 2,500 feet. Yes. Yes, we are. You got about just under a mile until we run into the other half the Hummocks Trail, and then it just turns into straight Boundary Trail. So the Boundary Trail is 57 miles or so from Here, heading east towards the base of Mount Adams, it is called the Boundary Trail because it used to run along near the boundary of, when it was two separate national forests. You had the Gifford Pinchot National Forest, which is down here south of Mount Rainier, and then north, and everything north of here to Snoqualmie Pass was called the Snoqualmie National Forest. Now it's the Mount Baker Snoqualmie National Forest and the Gifford Pinchot National Forest. I believe there was another national forest that this might have actually been the boundary of instead, but I'd have to look into some old maps and see why. Wildflowers are out. These little long pink flowers that we're first seeing, those are penstemons, and the taller bracts of blue or purple flowers are going to be lupins. And we'll see what else we find. Some fireweed coming out also. So we shall see. Next stop, the trail junction. Half a mile in, and we're gonna get our first good look at the volcano. And this would be the junction with the proper Hummocks trail. Turning right will lead you back down to the parking lot after another 2 miles. And we gotta go up there. Time for a quick water break. Paintbrush. Better. Paintbrush. That's the second.
You're interrupting the natural.
That's the second different color paintbrush I've seen today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we begin our ascent in earnest. So just so you know, inside the monument, they did not do any replanting. Outside the monument, when you drive along the highway, as you're coming into the monument, the left side, generally the uphill side, is all replanted and reharvested, owned by Weyerhaeuser. But on the right side, towards the volcano of the roadway, is all national monument. And they didn't replant. I don't think they replanted hardly anything in here. So this is all what nature has done to reclaim by herself over the last 45 years. And the idea I have, well, the reason we're doing this hike is because I wanted to take video. I take a long exposure at Johnston Ridge, Coldwater, and Windy Ridge every 5 years after the eruption. So you could see the progress nature makes in 5-year intervals of reclaiming. Big ol' action over in Sheep Canyon today. That's another good hike that we might do at some point, or I'd like to do at some point. But yeah, normally you just drive up to Johnston Ridge, go hike the Boundary Trail starting there, heading towards Spirit Lake, and call it a day. But you haven't been able to drive to Johnston Ridge for 2 years, and it's probably gonna be another
2 or 3 years till you can. So instead you got to do this hike, which this turned out to be a very good hike. But again, it wasn't very high on either of our lists to hike, because normally you could just skip this and drive there. So it'll be low on our list for this hike, but I'm sure it'll get bumped up higher. And we're about to lose shade for a bit. You can tell we're getting fairly close to the highway again because there's all this Scotch broom. Non-native, highly invasive, very gross. This big yellow spindly bush. But yeah, I don't know. Now that we've hiked this trail, or hiking this trail I should say, this might become a every 5-year pilgrimage of hike this section of boundary trail and see what changes. And when we come back 25 or 30 years from now, especially on the 50th anniversary, we'll do it. And then maybe come back every 10 years or every 25 years if I still can, and you can see what's changed. Stopping in the sunshine like an idiot, I know. There'll be a lot of something going on today over at Sheep Canyon. Probably ice giving way. But we are up on Johnston Ridge. Haven't got up to the top, but figured I'd let this roll. You can hear the Toutle River down in there. You can just barely see a peak of Castle Lake, which I'm pretty sure we can hike to. Whether we ever do is another question. Oh, the sun is hot. It's like it's about time for a water break. Craig and Elena are about to round the corner up there. Yeah, if it was 10 or 15 degrees cooler, this would be a effing wonderful hike. But we are starting to cook a bit.
Just a bit. Hoping for a breeze.
2 miles, almost halfway.
Yep. This way's flat.
And you still got to gain
Ish.
quite a bit of... God damn it, stop doing that. Water break. Before too long, we should be getting to the Lewitt pullout.
Right. We're going that way.
Yeah. No, that's the South Coldwater Ridge. You're down here, dinglings.
Oh, down there?
You're like there. You got one more big loop-ish. Then you get to...
I was looking
So we go around that big one there then.
Yeah.
I was looking at the map now.
Here, I'll get the one with, you know,
Oh,
my
no, we
person.
can't have that.
Breeze.
Here, there.
Breezy, breeze.
So you got one more big loop around to the Lewitt viewpoint, and then you parallel the road for the last half mile to the visit center. I'd say you got...
We got an ice cream truck on the road?
No.
We're getting ice cream after this. We're finding a place.
No, but the good thing about there being an observatory, it's a nice big-ass concrete building, which means there's a nice big-ass concrete slab of shade somewhere.
As long as it ain't got heated up by the sun yet today. Okie dokie.
How far away are they with being done with the construction?
They're saying 27 it'll open.
2027.
Well, so if you even go on Google Earth, you can see fresh pavement of where they've got it down to a single lane and they're working on things. Yeah, it's been updated since the blowout in 23. Yeah. Well, yeah, because they still got instruments that are still running up here.
Well, the single lane has been there almost the same time.
Yeah. That breeze was a godsend. Sitting in the shade for 10 minutes, letting all my sweat percolate and evaporate. Oh. Oh yeah, we picked a bunch. You've gained 1,100 of your 1,500 feet. So, and you still got almost 2 miles of trail left. So now it's just up and downs.
I got the shade over there, we're trading anywhere. I told them, we've only been hiking for an hour.
I know. Road crossing, beware of traffic. How's that for juxtaposition? Huh. Huh? Oh, yeah. That's where Lewitt Falls is. Oh, God, I just ate a fly.
Protein.
Oh. Yuck. Yeah. Yes. When we, we'll have to go do that again, this time with video. And when we do, I'll post that right there. 3 miles in, and we got into a nice shady patch after being out in the open for most of the last mile and a half. Oh, very much needed. You find your occasional evergreen tree out in the open, hang out under it. But whoever, this dude must have got lucky and found the perfect spot immediately after the eruption. There is a whole bunch of fairly large spruce and firs in here, holding things down and kickstarting the regrowth. This is very much neat. I am sweating like a pig. My watch says I've done 700 active calories already. We be cooking. Come back in another 20 years and this is pretty decently thick forest, and it'll be an even nicer walk. We still gotta gain like 500 feet, but we've got a mile and a half or so left. Looks like last shade there with Nash and Dad for a bit. Paintbrush. Booyah, baby. Lots of flowers. You got paintbrush, you got strawberries, you got a thimbleberry bush coming up. You got some purple penstemon back there. There had been a whole bunch of lupin, not flowering yet, but back in that shady chunk, there had been a whole bunch of lupin coming up. So there is lots of wildflowers. You are in the montane zone of the Cascades after all. It is vibrant and turns into a jungle. You just gotta give it the chance. I'm gonna have another water break here. I'm getting hungry. Living on the cliff face a bit now. Oh. Oh, I'm hungry. There's the breeze. Pan back over. You can't see it anymore, but we came from a parking lot down there. That's Castle Lake over there. Holy crap. Oh,
All the critters are doing the same thing I'm doing.
sunbathing?
Hiding in the fucking tree.
Yeah.
Hold up underneath a nice big tree.
Nash is taking a short, so I don't gotta worry about that. Crap. Where is he sitting? Ah, he's in the tall tree there. Oh, I'm gonna hang out here for a moment or two in shade. Thank you, Mr. Vine Maple. Now you may be sitting here going, Brandon, it's all open. Why is this in the hiking section and not the high alpine section? Because we're not even at 4,000 feet. The reason this is open is because that annihilated everything 45 years ago. Otherwise, this would still be not thick, but fairly deep old growth forest. Yeah, this is gonna be one hell of a nice long exposure. We'll watch Dad go around the corner. All right, next stop, the Lewitt Viewpoint turnout on the Spirit Lake Highway. All right, gonna be probably 3 3/4 by the time we get there, but there's the Lewitt Viewpoint along the highway. You got Coldwater Peak there. Oh, tree. You got Johnston Ridge Observatory there, and we had been seeing it, but it's about to disappear from us again. There's Mount Adams there, and a big, beautiful volcano down there. You ain't gonna be able to see them on this, but we had an elk cross us about 10 minutes ago, not more than 40 yards away from Dad, so that was pretty cool. He's a big 4x or a big 5x dude. He's got a gimp in one of his back legs, but he hauled ass down the trail anyway. Uh-oh, Dad's got something else. But as you can see, there ain't gonna be much shade. There's Craig and Lena there at the road switchback. That's all the further you gotta go. From there, saunter on up to there, and we have made it. The breeze is wonderful, but it's hot. What'd you think you see? Another trail?
Well, one just came steaming down.
Oh. Huh. Oh yeah.
That's like the one we watched the guy go down, the one before that, and then this one, so they may be traveling together loosely.
Yeah, just hanging out, keeping each other company, keeping watch over each other's buttocks. So close yet so far away.
Yeah.
Mostly flat from here.
Yeah, but no shade.
Got a breeze now.
Yeah. Might get our first real good look at Coldwater Lake too. Ow. Oh, that hurt. Shrubbery attack. We need to quit doing these tall hikes up here in the hot days. One last look around, I'm gonna kill this. All right, we have arrived at the parking lot, 4.45 miles. No cars have been up, no crowds of cars and people have been up here for 2 summers now. And you can see how quickly it'll take back over, even out here in the desolation. And while we're here really quickly, I want to point out to you Coldwater Peak with the repeater. You can hike to the top of that. And just over there, you can see the rock arch, which we have been there before. I'll post that video right there. And now we get the little victory walk on the pavement. And we'll go eat lunch in the shade of the visitor center. And I'll stick this out front somewhere. Take a long exposure of that. At the same time, I'll give Nash the 10 because I'm using a 13. I just went and bought a 13. And the first video I used it was the sunset video at the ranch a couple weeks ago. So this is the first actual real adventure for it. And so yeah, this will set up and get the long exposure. The now second place 10 will get to go do other long exposures, ergo hunting up wildflowers. And then we'll head back down and go swim in Coldwater Lake. And when they open up this road eventually, I will be doing it as part of a new series. I want to do a new playlist called Scenic Drives, where I drive up really pretty roads and have the camera rolling. It's like off-roading, but staying on paved roads. So places like going to Paradise, Sunrise, coming up here, yada, yada, yada. And let that run. Oh, warm on the pavement. Yeah. Ta-da. Shade. All right, it's too far. We got to turn back. I can't make it. Yeah. It's kind of warm. Did you bring your fire hydrant wrench to crack open? Ooh, oh, volcano. Yeah. Hot pavement, no breeze. This sucks. Ta-da. Mount Saint Helens National Volcanic Monument, Johnston Ridge Observatory. Thank you, Mr. David Johnston, for your service and your sacrifice. That's fine where everybody's hiding. Somewhere like right there, I'll take my long exposure, but let's go find friends first. There's Adams. Let's see how long that goes. This will be the first.
You got TP in your pack?
No, Dad probably does.
Your dad probably does?
Yeah. You got any mountain money?
Yeah. Can I borrow some? Yeah.
For you or for Elena?
Me.
No, not for me. For Craig. I want to make that very clear.
Elena's not.
I can control my bowels.
Somebody shoot my pants.
I'll just shit.
Go see how hot those amphitheater seats are. Most winners.
We have left Johnston Ridge Observatory and are heading back downhill. It is noon on the dot. See how long it takes us to go downhill, 4.5 miles. So there's the volcano. I talked about going to Hole in the Rock, which from here, this is where you normally start. You start here and you walk the boundary trail 2.5 miles, and then you go get on the, I think it's the Lakes Trail or Coldwater Peak Trail or something. You can go 1.5 miles or something, and then you get to the Rock Arch. Then you can go climb Coldwater Peak too. We didn't do that. That'll be a next time thing. I talked about walking along. Actually, no, I didn't. Or last bit of trail. Yeah. All the strawberries.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. So, a couple of summers ago, Nash and I came up and walked the Lakes Trail along Coldwater Lake. I'll post that right there. Talked about going to Lewitt Falls again, because we did that before we were on YouTube. Afternoon.
Good afternoon now.
Yep, 12:03. Have a good one. So yeah, we'll go to Lewitt Falls sometime soon. I tagged that earlier, but we have also been to the summit, or I have been to the summit twice, once with and once without YouTube. I will tag the YouTube video right there. And when we're done with this, like I said, we're gonna go down to Coldwater Lake and go for a swim. So I'll probably make a video out of that. I'm sure I'll make a video of some sort out of that. Although I am an idiot and didn't put a SD card in the 10. So I've still only got one camera to use. Because I'm an idiot, and I left the session at home because I didn't think I'd ever need it again. You'd take the SD card at session, but oh well. Yeah. So obviously the swimming video, post that right there. And we're just gonna cruise on downhill. I'll run the outro when we get probably back down into the Hummocks section. Kind of sketchy. It's slanted, slippery dirt. If you have vertigo, that's a steep cliff. I get a little bit of vertigo doing that. That's what the Mount Whittier and Mount Margaret trails are like, pretty much like this the whole time. So that'll be fun to do. I really want to go do that at some point. Other than that, we're gonna keep cruising. Oh, shoot, you can't see it's further over. We did end up spotting more than 3 or 4 dozen elk in various locations out on the plains of Abraham, which is what that big flat, sparsely vegetated area is, right where the mountain comes down. It flattens out. That's all the plains of Abraham, and it wraps all the way around to Ape Canyon on the far eastern end of Mount Saint Helens, which is another trail we need to go to. There's a lot of trails here that I want to go do. It's a little bit further driving than Mount Rainier, so we get out here less often. Other than that, I'm gonna probably turn this off till we go around that corner over there after the Lewitt pull out, and then I'll probably kill it until we get down to do the outro. So I guess say goodbye mountain for a little bit. Of course, there's lots of fireweed over here. Not fireweed, Jesus Christ. You're getting your 2 favorite flowers mixed up again. Where are you sitting, dingus? I can't see him. I'm not gonna waste time looking for him. I'm gonna keep hoofing it. This will be our last real good, actually get to stare at the mountain while we're hiking. We're gonna be going along, walking west and away from it for most of the next mile or so until we drop back down to the flat. And then we'll have some big lazy switchbacks going back down. I figured I'd turn that on so you could see it for a minute or two. Can I rotate it over? I can get the edge of the mountain and the trail. Okay. Let's concentrate on the trail. Yeah, come back in another 45 years when I'm ancient and can hardly walk the trail. Probably won't even be able to walk the trail, and this might be decently forested in by then. It's taken 45 years to get to this point, but the more vegetation you lay down, the more will accumulate. Unless, of course, you get a reset, like a landslide or a wildfire come through. But the more vegetation you get down, the more vegetation follows it. And we're only at 4,000 feet, so you should get decent. It may not ever fully enclose back up, but you should get pretty good sections of firs and spruces and such like that. Whew, the sun's hot with no breeze. This sucks. Alright, so we're going to say goodbye Mount Tione until we start our descent. And that's probably where I'll run our outro. About to make our final descent off of Johnston Ridge down into the flat. And this will be our last set of good looks at the mountain. So I figured I would run my outro right now. So, thank you for joining us on this Cooley Outdoors Adventures. Wooded Boundary Trail #1. And Mount Saint Helens National Volcanic Monument from its western terminus at the Hummocks trailhead to the Johnston Ridge Observatory. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down. Either way, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you did or did not like about it. You showing me the ant highway? Yeah.
It's deserted.
Oh, it's deserted in the middle of the day now? Yeah. So, side note, you may see this little indent line in the dirt there. This morning it was chock, and I mean chock full of ants cruising up and down. Now it's too hot, so they've deserted it. Anywho, if you like the video, yada yada yada, dislike, yada yada yada, please leave a comment down below. Ratings. Distance one way, 4.5 miles. Elevation gain one way, 1,700 feet. Time one way, a hair over 2 hours. Accessibility, it's a little under, sorry, just a hair over 2 hours, between 2 and 2.5 hours from Seattle without traffic. The last bit of the road is closed in winter, but the trail that we got to, you can't go any further than that anyway, so that's kind of a moot point. And if you're coming this far up this highway in the winter, odds are you're not going to be hiking anyway. You're going to be doing some sort of skiing or snowshoeing or something. So accessibility, 4 stars. Difficulty. If you're going to come do this trail properly, you're going to want a nice sunny day so you can see the whole volcano, which means you'll be in the sun for 90% of the trail, which means you will be cooking no matter what the temperature is. And it is steep and open when you have to climb. So I'm going to give it a solid 4 stars. Enjoyment. I mean, you can't get much better than this. I wasn't able to show you on camera, but we saw a couple of dozen elk. The scenery is stupendous. The wildflowers are out this time of year. And I generally try to not hold weather factors against a trail. So even though it is too hot for my liking, if you manage to catch it on like a 65-degree day with some snow still on the ground at the upper reaches in May, or just it not be an 80 to 85 degree day, you'll have yourself a really good time. This is getting the full 5 stars. This is why you come out and hike trails in the north side of Mount Saint Helens, is to see the volcano and the destruction. And this was amazing. Getting to hike up to the observatory, good and bad. I mean, you have no choice since the road's closed. Would I do this trail again when the road is open? This might become the every 5-year pilgrimage, maybe. But normally, no, I would not. So I'm still giving this 5 stars. Oh, what comes next? Well, after this, I'm going to go down to Coldwater Lake, which is the next parking lot before this one. You have to pass to get here. It's literally like 200 yards between the 2 parking lots. And we're going to go for a swim. And then if we have time, I'm going to make Dad stop at the Coldwater. Go, little caterpillar, run! If we have time, I'm going to make Dad stop at the Coldwater Visitor Center so I can get a long exposure there for my March of Time things, where I shoot video at the same location every 5 years so you can see what changes. And of course, this literal 45-year-old living laboratory is pretty much the perfect spot to do it. After that, I have no idea. I need to go find some waterfalls before they start drying out. As they start melting out, all the Scotch broom is yuck. And then this summer, Nash and I are doing a staycation. Don't know how many hikes we're going to cover this year. Last year we wanted to cover 5. I think we only ever got to 3. But this year I know for a fact we're going to at least do Goat Lake and the Goat Rocks and Cascade Pass in North Cascades National Park. After that, we've got some other ideas, but both of those hikes are like top 10 overall hikes we both want to do, so they both make the cut. The criteria for the staycation hikes, they need to be in the top 10 for both of us for the wilderness area. Cascade Pass and Goat Lake are both top 10 overall in the entirety of everything. I think they're both like number 1 or number 2, maybe number 3 in their respective wildernesses. Would prefer it to be new wildernesses to us. Neither of those are, but that's okay. New hikes to us, yes. Big daddy hikes that you can usually, or high elevation, you can only do in July, August, September, yes. And yeah, and I think that's pretty much it. So we're looking for the klima, the ooh ah prettiest. And we're looking for the big bad boy hikes with big elevation, big views, big lakes, big experiences. Get way up high on the top of the mountains. Other than that, planning on going back to the ranch to do firewood cutting sometime this fall, most likely October, when I have been going. Last couple of times has been around Halloween. 19-minute mile coming downhill that. Whew. Other than that, oh, it's so much hotter down here. Now we just lost 600 feet. It's hot down here and gross. Other than that, I don't think I have much for you. So until next time, thank you for joining us. Have a good one, and ciao.
Oh yeah. After a 10-mile hike?
Yep. Beanie, beanie.
Hello. 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 Be careful. We say that around here. Yeah. Yeah, please keep your language as PG as possible. What did he say? There's a bit of a current. Like the tiniest little bit. Just a bit. You can see I'm being cold already. I do most of my swimming with my arms. It's hard to use my legs. It's just to kind of like propel myself up and yeah. When I was in Iceland, we had to tread water with a brick on our chest for like 3 minutes. Damn! Okay. Like this. You weren't allowed to move your arms at all. Oh, damn. Like at all. If you moved them, you had to restart.